Hello, everyone. Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I think you guys can hear me now. Yeah.
Okay, so Merry Christmas, guys. Happy Boxing Day. I hope everyone is doing well. So, today, Yuri and I will be talking about scholarships and financial aid. So, yeah, my name is Ashley Anderson Alingigwa. I am a student at the African Leadership Academy. And yeah, I'm 18 years old and I am a Tanzanian citizen. Let me leave it to Yuri to introduce herself.
Hi guys. My name is Yuri. I go to Haven of Peace Academy, Hopac right now. I am partly a Tanzanian citizen and partly a Japanese citizen. I go to Hopac via your scholarship, and yeah, hopefully we're able to like explain everything well to you guys today, so you guys can also apply to scholarships as well, and probably get into like a good international school.
Yeah. So Yuri, you asked me, but I mean, we were discussing and we talked about the differences between scholarships and financial aid. I think we should talk about that before we get into the, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. So um basically the difference is I'm I go to Hopac through merit scholarship, while Ashley goes there through goes to African Leadership Academy through financial aid. And I'm just going to explain my side of what a merit scholarship is kind of like, and I guess Ashley kind of explain what how financial aid thing works. So basically for merit scholarship, it's kind of sort of like reward money. I would say it's more of like a fixed amount of money which you would get basing on maybe academic abilities or maybe athletic benefits or something that you probably can offer to the school. It's more of merit based, by merit meaning how you can benefit the school. So let's say if you have good grades, you could go there maybe through a merit scholarship that is mainly based on your academic abilities. If you're good at athletics, you probably get an athletic scholarship. So it's usually like a sort of amount of money that is maybe rewarded to someone based on what they can add to the school, how you can benefit the school. And it depends on maybe the criteria, which is like it depends on the scholarship, and different scholarships have different criteria. Because, as I said, athletic scholarships maybe one based on your academic abilities, maybe some discriminate, maybe not discriminate, but I would say like make certain people more eligible than others. So generally for a scholarship, you would apply, and it's just I don't know how to. It's more of like something. It's more competitive, I would say, compared to financial aid because it's more of merit based and who can maybe let's say benefit the school best. I would say. So yeah, that's kind of what a scholarship is like, and usually maybe there's a certain amount of people it's awarded to. So it depends, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you. With financial aid, okay, let me just send something. Give me a second. With financial aid, it's not that it's not that hectic. Firstly, and financial aid, I feel like it's less, you know, it's less competitive to get because schools that give financial aid are usually need blind. So whether you have money or you don't have money and you're applying to their school, you can get financial aid as long as you're, capable enough. And you don't need to have certain, okay, I feel like you need to be smart in a way, in order to get to the school, but you don't have to say be good at sports or have a certain GPA in order to get financial aid. Yeah, so that's my take on financial aid.
Yeah, I
So,
guess generally, if you're eligible for being admitted to the school, I think it's not going to be too hard to be eligible to get financial aid.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, so basically, that's the main differences between what a scholarship is and what financial aid is like. And I guess on the next part, we should talk about maybe different schools that do offer this in Africa or TZ or whatever parameters maybe you were in, and kind of how the process works to make it easier for you guys.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure HOPA gives financial aid. I HOPA gives a scholarship. Sorry.
Yeah.
UWC, I think they give financial aid because it's not uniform for all of them. If you get what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
because some people pay less and some people pay more. So I would say it's financial aid. The African Leadership Academy gives financial aid. With MS, I'm not too sure about what they give.
Yeah.
And Brayburn had a scholarship at a point for kids who were talented in music and all of that. Okay, so here are
Yeah.
the slides finally.
Finally.
Yeah, I couldn't I thought I could get it to work, but
Yeah. Um, what other school offers? IST also offers scholarships.
yeah, I still offer scholarships.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yuri, I think you could just take us through the whole scholarship part and so that they can get like a understanding of what scholarships are and how they work in a HOPAC,
Okay.
perspective.
Yeah.
And I'll just talk about financial aid.
Yeah. So basically, for scholarships, usually you start applying for the scholarship even before you get admitted to the school, like even before you start going to the school. So for HOPAC, after I finished my Form 4, my O level studies or whatever, around even right now, I think the application's already out. So basically, a school post out that they have maybe they're offering merit scholarships to students. So for what happened with PillPack is they do offer a merit scholarship and it's awarded to two people. So it's a boy and a girl, which makes it a pretty competitive process. And yeah, so when you do apply for the scholarship thing, um, it usually starts off with like a written process first. So maybe you would have to fill in your personal information, write up maybe your financial information as well, and also write up different things such as maybe essays about yourself, which is obvious, and activities you do. It depends on what you're applying for, but for HOPAC in specific, you mainly write your personal information, your financial information, and you fill in your essays. So yeah. So for HOPAC, basically how it worked is after you get like there's a scholarship packet online, merit scholarship packet for maybe for this year it'd be called merit scholarship packet 2024 to 2025, something like that. You would download it, and after you download the packet, they would write maybe a summary information about what HOPAC is like, and so you can kind of get an idea of what the school is like to know if you do want to go to the school. And as you just basically scroll down, if you're using a phone, you'll find the application thingy there. Like basically, you start filling in your personal information, everything. And for HOPAC, since they want you to take it to school as hard copy, you'd have to print it out. So what I did personally is I had the scholarship packet printed out. Then I started filling it in by hand. So maybe I'd write my name, my parents' name, what they do for a living, whatever, all that stuff. And for they have this year they have five essays. I don't remember. They have one about community service, leadership, one about extracurriculars, one about where you see yourself in 10 years, and one about an occasion or event that shaped you, something like that. Basically, the question's already there. So what you have to do is What I personally did was I just copied each question on Google Docs and I typed out my essay below each question, then just printed them out because you need to take them to OPAC in hard copy. So you can either print it out or you can write it. But I would advise someone to print it out because sometimes, not everyone has a legible handwriting, I would say. So it's better to just print it out. And yeah. So other things is after you do answer those essay questions as well, there are things that HOPAC did ask for, such as maybe, let's say, your passport, your leaving certificate, your national exam results, whatever. All those things you need to have them printed out and stapled, then take them to the school before the deadline, of course. And yeah, they also asked for financial information. For my year in specific, they didn't ask for the financial information printed out, but for this, year, kind of do ask that. Make sure you have all the financial documents already pre-prepared like before the deadline, because it kind of takes time sometimes to get them ready. So yeah, basically that's how it works in the first stage for the written process. So you just print out your documents, write your essays, write about yourself, and just take it to the school. Then the next stage, which is after you do that, they will write you maybe an email on um, visiting the school. So I don't remember what they called the day. I don't remember very well. But then you basically get a chance to go to Hopac and kind of get like a school tour. So you go to Hopac and you kind of get into groups and whatever, and they show you around the school. You get to attend senior school assembly with them and kind of get a feel of what the vibe is at the school to basically help if you want to do like if you do want to go to the school. And on the same day as well, when you go visit the school, there is a kind of exam that you write, a test. So one was a math test and another was an English test. And also there was a group stage where you kind of like you're in groups already, so there are things that you're supposed to present about, and you're not you often told what you're supposed to do, but then beforehand, but then once you're already there, they'll tell you what you're supposed to present about. So yeah, the math test, I guess I wouldn't say it's something, I mean, you should study, but it's not really like something all too hard. I would say like how our O level exams were like, but then it is a lot of I don't know how to explain it, but it's not really like a very hard exam, but it's more so just to test whether you can do maths, I guess, which is the point of an exam. And for English, it was to write two essays, I think. So yeah, a couple essays. And the group stage was something related to what service means to us and how it relates to um, Christianity and everything. And you just have to do a group presentation, whereas there are a lot of groups, probably around 20, 30 groups. So you do have to look for a way for your specific group to stand out. And yeah, so maybe in my group we did an improv where we kind of did like a small act on stage, which kind of made it stand out, because like anyone you'd ask, you'd be like, oh, we're the group who did this, and they'd kind of remember. And it's something that you do want to happen when you're doing an interview, because I mean, if they don't remember you, they won't choose you. So you should kind of do something that will stand out, not necessarily an improv, but try to make it something that people remember. um yeah. And basically, as you're in the group stage thingy trying to like work things out, trying to prepare yourself to present and everything, they're going to be kind of like circulating around, like working, like walking around and try to see how you guys work as a group. So try to cooperate with each other, try to be that leader within yourself. um and yeah, pretty much it. And after that, basically they'll tell you how many people are getting narrowed down to, maybe from this stage to this stage only maybe 20 people pass, from this stage to this stage they'll kind of let you know. Yeah, and after that is basically the oral interview stage, where you will get an email. Maybe they'll tell you maybe by April 30th will let you know on whether you will get this call. I mean, you will proceed the next stage. And basically you do an oral interview stage, and they'll ask you different questions about yourself, and not about, yeah, they are about yourselves, and basically also relating to maybe why you want to go there and things of the sort. You just have to kind of be honest, I would say, and just have like a confident vibe. And yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how to tell someone how they're going to like ace their oral interviews, but then I feel like it's about um, just be you, I guess I would say, and try not to like keep a whole fake persona. Then afterwards, they'll tell you if you got the scholarship or not. So that's how the stage is like. So once you do get the scholarship, maybe they'll tell you the amount of money it's covering. So that kind of shows how it's like a fixed amount compared to what a financial aid is like. So yeah, that's what Hopeback the scholarship process is like there.
Okay, thank you, Yuri. So I'll be talking about financial aid, and I'll just give like a brief explanation on what financial aid is. Because me personally, when I was applying to ALA, I did not know what it was. Honestly, like I genuinely thought like they just give us lots of money and like you didn't have to pay and all of that. But yeah, so, financial aid is money that helps people pay for education and can come from a variety of sources, including government, schools, private organizations. So, basically, what ALA does is it goes to different meetings, to different like big things like the COPs and whatever, and they look for people and they tell them about the African Leadership Academy and its vision and all of that, and they get them to invest in students or to invest in the whole ALA type of thing. So usually what happens is you'll have a person paying for a student or a person just contributing money to ALA, so ALA can decide where they put the money in terms of financial aid, right? So some people get to meet their sponsors, some people don't. Me personally, I don't know who's sponsoring me. So yeah, so that's kind of how it works. You know, you have people who, cause like you won't pay the whole thing, but you pay a certain amount. Kunatu, the fees is like $30,900. So like if you think about it as an average African person, they wouldn't be able to afford that, right? So what they do is say you pay $300 and a person pays the rest of the money. If you guys get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So for ALA, the whole process works in a way that while you're applying, you reach a stage where you have to send in your parents' financial documents. For me, it was, um, I think, the stage where we did the interviews. So you have a deadline where you're supposed to submit, they send you a whole document and you're supposed to fill it. You're supposed to attach bank statements, whether your parents own like a car, the whole car documents and all of that, like all of that. And you have to be honest with it because when you do get accepted and they find out that you lied, they either kick you out or they remove your financial aid. So you're gonna have to pay as you would like the whole $30,900, if it makes sense. So yeah, so basically what you do, they give you a document, you fill it, it shows how your parents spent the money, like it shows how like the whole household spends money on an average. It shows your assets, it shows all of that. You can indicate loans that you have. Yeah, and basically that's it. So when you get accepted, they send you a they send you like the acceptance email. They send you the acceptance email and it comes with like documents including your financial aid package, I don't know, dates, important dates for the year, different documents. So your financial aid package depends on what you filled out. So if you look like if your parents have money, if you are of a certain income level, you pay more. And if you're of yeah, it depends on what your parents can afford. Some people pay $300. Some people pay $30,000. It's really it's really not that big of an issue. Yeah, and like I feel like with scholarships, you can say maybe the person with a higher scholarship, maybe they did something to deserve the higher scholarship. But with financial aid, it entirely depends on what you can pay. Yeah. So if and like with ALA, your financial aid package can determine whether, ALA is gonna pay for your flights, whether you pay for your flights alone. Usually people who went to government schools, they pay a lot less. So ALA covers their flights, covers literally everything. And you can also request for they usually help you with necessary items that you might not have, like toiletries, chargers, and all of that. But also with financial aid, you can appeal in ALA. So in case something happens, maybe your parents lost their job, your dad retired, your parents passed away, God forbid though, but you can appeal your financial aid package and get less. Though sometimes it might not work. Like sometimes they might not reduce it as much as you would wish them to reduce it. Yeah, but sometimes they do. And I have a friend whose financial aid, like he was paying about $7,000, but then after appealing, they reduced more than half, and he's now paying like 2,000 something dollars, which is okay, depending on yeah. So I think that's it with the African Leadership Academy in terms of financial aid. Just when you're filling in the slides, just be honest. When you're filling in the documents that they give you, just be honest because guy, when they catch you, it's not a good thing. But also that money could be used to help people who are in greater need. So we have to be integrous and we have to think about others. So yeah, be honest. Don't worry about it. The document is so long, but like don't worry about it. Be punctual. Make sure your financial documents are ready early. Like right now, as you guys are in this stage, make sure you already tell your parents to start preparing their financial documents. Although they ask you for like the past 2 months, so maybe getting them now is not the best thing to do. But like just tell your parents, make sure they know that at a certain time they'll be required to give financial documents. Can we please go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. I think that's it from us. If anyone has any questions, Yuri and I will be stoked to answer them. Does anyone have any questions? The whole financial scholarship issue is really not that serious. Like it just depends on you and whether you have those documents. So it's really your parents' problem. It's not really a you problem, and it doesn't really affect your chances of getting in. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions about the whole process, uh, John. Yeah, John. You've been recognized.
I have a question about
Yeah.
about that financial assistance which they give, what about the money, like just for spending, like pocket money? Do they offer also, or how is it?
Oh, okay. For pocket money in ALA, they don't give you pocket money, but kids with greater financial aid are like they are more prioritized when it comes to getting campus jobs. So you do have to work for it, but like a person with high, like a person who pays a lot of money and a person who pays less money, the person who pays less money will be prioritized for the campus job. So when you get the campus job, then you'll get money and you'll be able to spend. My roommate, my roommate has a campus job, and bro, she's always buying ice cream and like she's living the life. You know, her parents don't pay much because she's from Niger, and you know Niger, it's not that well developed. So you would have Tanzanians paying more than people from Niger. But yeah, she's living the life, man. She with the campus job, she's able to just buy whatever she wants because the campus jobs pay pretty well.
Um, for OPAC, I think I would say they don't really offer that because the scholarship is more so just to cover the tuition. So the tuition and maybe the capital development fees. So I think other things such as um, your spending, since you will still be living in Dar, if you do live in Dar or in TZ, just to be clear, they don't really offer any, I would say, pocket money because you're basically just living from home. So basically, what you spend on a daily basis doesn't really change. So you don't really get offered that. Um, but yeah, also it doesn't, depending on the scholarship though, but then maybe different scholarships have different benefits. But then with the one at Help Back, they don't really offer let's say they don't cover your transport. So maybe since it's a day school, you'd have to look for a way on how you'd get back home on your own, or maybe pay for the transport offered at school. So yeah, they don't really offer any of that.
Before we get into any other questions, let me just add onto the whole document that they'll give you to the financial information document. The things that they're gonna ask, they'll just ask you things like income, you know, maybe if you're a student and you're employed, maybe they'd ask you for income, assets, expenses. Though this is not very common because you're like at this point because you're applying to high school, they don't really expect you to have a job. And yeah, so they just ask for your parents' income, they'll ask for your parents' assets, their expenses. They asked me the number of people in our household. They asked siblings, number of siblings, their how much they pay for school fees, all of that. So yeah, it's usually a parent thing. You're not allowed to fill in the financial aid document. Your parents have to fill it. So yeah, it's usually just a parent thing, though you could help with looking for stuff. But yeah. Are there any other questions?
You could tap the hand thingy if you do have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question about the campus jobs. How are they? Which jobs are they? Is it like sweeping, or what is it? What are the some examples of those jobs which they give you?
Oh, okay. So first, they're not like sweeping because there is help. Um, they're usually like maybe running the newsletter or managing the import. We have something called an emporium, which is like a shop where we go buy toiletries and whatnot. So you can go and manage that. IT jobs. There are lots of campus jobs, guy. I don't have them all in my head, but they're not jobs that degrade you and make you look like you pay less, you know. Yeah, and if you don't get a campus job, there are certain we have student enterprises in ALA, which is basically like student run businesses. and you could get money from those. So an example of a student enterprise, we have this enterprise called SAFCorp, which basically taxes all the other enterprises in the school. And yeah, SAFCorp has money. So they basically tax every other enterprise in the school, and the money they get, they give it to the entrepreneurial leadership department, and the entrepreneurial leadership department pays them. So they get I think is it's 5,000 to 8,000 rand a year, which is pretty decent for a student, I'd say. Yeah.
Is there any other question? Oh.
Anita, you could ask your question.
Okay, so I was asking where exactly can I get the financial aid documents?
Oh, they would email it to you during your application journey. So it will reach a stage where they will want you to fill in the financial aid documents, and they'll send you the whole document for you to fill. And it's gonna outline everything. Everything that you're gonna need to do, everything that you're going to need to include in the document is going to be written in that document that they'll email you. Any other questions?
Anita, can you mute yourself? Because I'm getting an echo here.
Do you have any other
I got
questions
a
on the
question to ask.
whole scholarship?
So, what happens if you don't have the
Yeah.
financial documents that they request, maybe some invoices or receipts or something? So, what what will happen, or is there an alternative?
The best thing to do at that point would be to email them and tell them that you don't have them and why you don't have them. Because if you say you don't have them, why don't you have them? Well, these things are very, you know, they should be available. So a good example is in my old school, they didn't give invoices for school fees. Like you just pay school fees and like that's it. So what we did is we emailed them and they just asked for a letter from the head of my school, and she wrote a letter saying that they paid this every year, and it was signed and it was stamped, and she emailed it to the school.
Yeah, most times if you can't or if you don't have a certain document, you can just email them and they'll probably understand, and there's usually an alternative. So as long as you just keep up the communication well, I think everything will just be fine.
Yeah, and I think that's something to do throughout the whole application process. Don't be afraid to email them and ask them, like, if you don't understand something, if you're stuck somewhere, don't be afraid to send an email and to get clarification, because those people are there. And when they say don't hesitate to contact us, they actually mean it. So throughout your whole application process, it doesn't just have to be in the financial aid part. If there's any part of your application that you're not, well versed with, it's okay to just send an email to the school. Yeah.
Is there any other question?
Yeah, another question. Does the financial aid covers the 2 years of your study, or just 1 year, and when comes the second year you have to apply again, like the CSS?
Do you wanna go first, or I could go first?
Um, I think I'm not sure about ALA, but then for HOPAC, generally, you're already told the amount of time the scholarship covers. So maybe you'll be told this to cover this many years. So maybe $40,000 to cover 2 years or something like that. And generally, most scholarships offered by schools in Tanzania, international schools, usually give you the time period it covers in, and it's usually throughout your high school because supporting you in 1 year wouldn't make sense if you can't afford the next year. Um, I'm not sure if that's how it works in the university level because obviously I feel like it's a bit different. But then in terms of international schools in TZ, and yeah, they usually cover most of your high school, like throughout your high school. So basically for 2 years. So it's the same for maybe HOPAC, IST, etc. Depending on what scholarship you're on, because I would say uh, maybe scholarships such as the Beacon Scholarship, which is available to kids who do go to international schools who were from international schools in their O levels can apply for the Recon scholarship if you were like among the top 10, maybe best in your class, and you were a leader, you did sports, you did this and that. You can apply for it where it covers only a third of what the tuition is, which is a conditional scholarship, meaning you'd have to have the qualifications and eligibilities every year. So it's not a one time offer. So it depends really on what type of offer you're getting. But if it's a conditional offer, then you'd have to still meet the conditions it's talking about or the eligibilities that they have. But for most scholarships offered by the schools in TZ, they are usually a one time thing. So they would cover maybe a lump sum and it would cover maybe the 2, 3 years, whatever you're doing of high school. I'm not sure if that's how it works in ALA, but then for most schools in DAR, that's how it works.
Yeah. For ALA, your financial aid covers both years, so they'll give you a whole, a whole breakdown for your 2 years. They'll tell you that you received this award for 2 years, and this is for year one. This is for year two. So they do give you financial aid for both years. Yeah. Any other questions? Well, before we get to the next question, if there will be another question, I just want to continue emphasizing on integrity during the financial aid process because it's it's way worse to be caught lying and have your financial aid taken away than to just get like a good package that's well suited for you. Because when the because like it's so easy to want to forge, to want to leave information behind, but I think being integrous throughout this process is very important because it just like it they won't give you something that you can't handle, and yeah, they won't give you something that you can't handle, and when they do, you can appeal. So yeah.
Um, I think you should just be integral throughout the process and not just even the financial aid thing. Like generally
Yeah.
everything you're
Yeah.
writing, I think it's best to just be honest on everything that you're doing. Because maybe let's say um, I was actually talking to one of the board members, I would say, who was part of my oral interview process, and talking about how they can really tell if you're lying throughout your oral interviews, your essays, or whatever. You don't really have to say something you really didn't do, because it's kind of a bit too obvious sometimes when you're lying, because they'll basically ask you more questions on what you're doing. And if it's an oral interview, you kind of have trouble answering the specific details and everything. So it's easy for your lies to get caught up, I would say. So I would just advise you to kind of be honest on what you're doing, and generally throughout the process, the questions asking for this and that. And it's really just be who you are. And if you don't think you is not good enough, try improving it while you're applying. Just try be better or whatever. Or they're not really looking for the best, I would say, student who's done like extraordinary things, opened a business while they're in O level, stuff like that. They're just looking for someone who has potential. So if you're just honest with who you are, I think it'll be much more of an easier process, because you could pass to maybe the essay stage because your essays were great. You lied about some stuff and everything. And in the oral interview stage, you noticed it's off. You would probably not get it anyways. And yeah, and also I would, or something else I'd want to add on is, for HOPAC, you may not get the full merit scholarship, but they can offer a certain percentage that they would probably cover if they think that you're still pretty good, but maybe someone else got it instead. So maybe they can cover 60%, they can cover certain amount of the scholarship. So I would just advise you just be honest throughout the process, because it's easier and it's just real, it's just safer.
I think Joshua was raising their hand.
Yeah.
If you still have a question.
Also, if you don't feel comfortable asking, you could just type it on the chat. I would try check if it's there. Something else I would like to add on is, for different schools, they kind of do get like too specific on the financial information that they require. So, like, to emphasize the fact that you need to have your documents beforehand will make the process less stressing, because things such as maybe bank statements and everything, maybe information on different schools. Like let's say IST would ask on maybe information concerning maybe the home you're living in, the assets you own, everything like that. Sometimes it takes time, so make sure you're cooperating with your parents a lot on this, and generally just have the documents to make it less stressing. But yeah, Joshua, what's the question that you have?
Maybe it's the internet.
Yeah, probably.
So if you have any questions, just let us know. Yeah. Or if you have a question about our schools, you could just.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be specifically like a financial question. It can just be about the process, the schools you go to. Maybe I don't know what we would advise right now on maybe like things that we, I don't know. It could just literally be anything. Okay. Someone asked if HOPAC has essays in the application like ALA and EWC. Yeah, I mentioned it when I was talking about how the process is like for applying there. There are 5 essays actually that you have to write, probably less than ALA, but then it's still essays that you do have to write. But yeah, they do have 5 essays which have like about a 300 word limit. Yeah, so yeah, you do have essays for HOPAC. Just to rerun what they're about. Generally, what they did ask for this year's leadership, what it means to you, whatever, community service, extracurriculars, and why you think they're important, where you see yourself in 10 years, and I think the last question was an occasion or event that's impacted you and how it's impacted you. So I would just, I guess, kind of advise that you think through it and try to maybe start working on them right now to make it easier and all other things. Yeah. But yes, HOPAC does have essay questions. I actually think the only application process that doesn't really have them is IST. They don't really have essays per se, more so like just like a short kind of like explanation question or whatever. But they don't really have essays, I think, in IST. But yeah, they do have a test though. But
Also, I almost forgot. At ALA, we have the ALA pledge, which okay, I'm not so well versed on this, but it was just they sent it in a document once, And I was like, oh, so like I don't know the full details, but like when you finish, you sign a pledge. Is it to thank the sponsors or whatever? And you pledge to give a certain amount to ALA.
Amounts.
Yeah, I think so. Oh my days. I'll find the document because like it's not talked about. We don't really talk about it at school, but it's something that I've seen somewhere. Yes. Okay. So this is what it says. This is what it says. This is what it says. ALA financial assistance packages are structured to create a strong incentive for you to build a career in Africa and lead change across the continent. You will not you will not be expected to repay this award and will be invited to sign the ALA pledge upon graduation. Yeah, you'll be invited. Like it's not a must, but you can sign the ALA pledge, and I think you have to give a certain amount every year. Yeah. When you guys get into ALA, you'll know. Yeah, me I don't know, and you'll tell me.
Yeah. Another question someone asked is, can one apply for HOPAC online, or is it different to Alien others? Um, no, you can't apply for it online. I feel like that's the best way to answer it. You can, because I guess, but I would say no, you can't, because you can't really type your essays online and just send them. They actually need the physical copy at school. So I would say the information concerning maybe the process, the packet, whatever, is an online process where you download the Merit Scholarship packet, print it out, fill it in, but then you can't send it online. You can't, it's more of us having to go to the school thing. So you have to like actually go there, give the papers, whatever, and it's more of a physical thing, I would say. And maybe let's say if you do not live in Dar, you could email them about it and you can send them online. Because I had a friend who lives in Dodoma, I think, who sent the information online. So it depends, but then mostly and preferably it is an like a physical process. I think IST also kind of needs you to go to the school as well and submit some stuff. So yeah, I did apply for IST, but I didn't like get through it, so I'm not that sure. But then there's something that your school principal has to fill in, where it's like a document that's like filled in based on her opinion of what you were like at school, whatever, whatever. It's stamped and everything, and you have to take it to school with some other stuff. So it is kind of also not completely an online process, because yeah, I guess, cause, I don't know. Yeah, it's not really.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do we have any more questions?
Oh, by the way, to add on, I think I once did mention this, that different scholarships have different benefits. So let's say for HOPAC, they cover tuition, capital development fee. Maybe they would help you pay for your SATs, whatever, all that stuff. But then schools such as maybe IST offer different benefits as well. They pay your tuition, whatever, maybe your uniform, if you do wear uniform, maybe your they might, oh yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is different scholarships cover different things and some have a bit more benefits than others. So I would say, in my opinion, that the IC scholarship has the most benefits in a way, because they do also cover maybe your travel costs if you want to go to a summer program, your travel costs to maybe a school trip or whatever. You have like two trips where they cover or whatever. They also pay for your medical insurance, like different things. So I would say different scholarships have different benefits. And yeah, I think it's something that you would want to kind of look into to know what you think would best support you instead of just going in head on, because maybe they could cover your tuition but they're not covering this that, which kind of makes it still expensive and it's hard for you to afford. So you should definitely look into it and kind of figure it out. Not figure it out, but like try to make like the best choice on what would best suit you and what you think is best for you. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like with the ALA financial aid packages, because with some packages they'll pay for your flights, you get SAT, they'll pay for your SAT. I think it's your first SAT. They'll you'll get priority in getting campus jobs and all of that. So yeah, but if you don't get these priorities, they probably assume that your parents can pay for you. So yeah.
Is there any other question?
I think there is something to pin on or to add. The consequences of, yeah, I have
Pardon?
something to add. So the penalties of, yeah, if you
Yeah.
give fake information about your financial information, there are several consequences that you will face, or you might face. So I insist you guys, the applicants, to be very honest with your application, with your financial details and something. There are several consequences, as I told you. As to what I know, there was a guy from India in 2019 who gave false information about his financial information in Stanford University, and he got a lot of penalties. And I remember one of me was paying about 150,000 bucks. So just presume you're coming from a poor family and you are told to pay about 150,000 bucks. Man, that's really weird. Karibia kama milioni 400 hivi ya kibongo, and you cannot pay it. So you'll spend your 5 years in jail. That is really
Okay, sorry.
so.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, there is another question again about There's another question. Wait, let me check it again. Oh yeah. Um, how many students do they take actually for HOPAC in the whole application process for scholarship? Officially, they only take two students. So one boy and a girl in like out of all the people who applied. That's like the amount of people who get the full merit scholarship, so they cover 100% everything is two people. But you could get admitted into the school without the scholarship. That is also possible. So when you're basically filling it in, they kind of do ask you if even if you do not get the scholarship, whether you do want to be considered for admissions, meaning just basically go to the school but without the scholarship. They will tell you on whether you're they'll ask you on whether you're comfortable with that, and you would have to basically indicate whether you are or not. But the amount of people officially is two. Some people maybe receive 60%, certain percent, maybe 40%, whatever, but for 100% it is only two people. Yeah, and this is just my opinion as well. It's more of like a Christian school, so I guess I would try to advise you to kind of have show that aspect of you in your essays and everything. But yeah.
I have a question. Did you say okay, so when they
Yeah.
asked you would you be willing to go to that to Hopac even without getting the scholarship, what
Yeah.
did you say?
I take no because it's expensive. I wouldn't go there if it's like
I feel like it's a trap. Like
that is. I mean, if you think about it like that, yeah. It honestly, it's like out of all honesty, would you go there if you aren't offered the scholarship? You see, this is the thing. When we were applying for it, there are different people who got in. I mean, there are different people who were applying. Maybe people from Int, people from DIS, people from this and that. And some people are maybe just trying their luck for a scholarship, and some people are like, I mean, even if I don't get it, I want to like still go to Hopac. So I think it's like for them too. But I wouldn't technically advise someone to take they can, because
No, because
I
like, isn't it for like, aren't they trying to give back to the community and help people who wouldn't really be able to afford it on their own?
yeah, but then in the end of the day, it is a merit based scholarship, so it's about how much you like can add into the school. So maybe let's say I do know someone who was a bit well off, and they kind of got 100% scholarship. I think a couple of years ago. I was a bit shocked because I was like, I mean, her, she can afford it, probably something like that. But I think they also do consider uh again how much addition you can bring to the school, like how good do you do in class, how this, how that, are you a good leader. Like in the end of the day, if you really do show like good qualities, it's a merit scholarship. It's not based on need. So yeah, it's more of like who's a really good student who can't afford it. So yeah, but then I wouldn't advise you to take that you can afford it. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
uh, oh, in the final stage, basically, if you do make it to the oral stage, and maybe let's say you don't get the merit scholarship like fully, they I think will still consider you for admission. So if you still think you can pay a certain amount, in the interview process they will ask you how much you think you can afford, and they really just ask you that to know basically like what state your family is kind of in, and it doesn't really affect like whether they choose you or not. But maybe if you don't get the scholarship, they will kind of like try to like give you like a discount or whatever, like help you to a certain percentage. So you will still be considered for admissions technically, even if you don't tick. So I guess what does happen, I do know someone who did apply for the merit scholarship, and like they went to the next stage after the group interview, whatever thingy, but then they weren't considered. They were like they went to the next stage, but then they were like kept into the section where you can kind of afford this. So yeah, I think they also do consider financial documents. So the person who I knew who didn't get considered for it was went to South Africa for the O level studies. And not that I'm saying much, but South Africa is a pretty pricey school, and if you can pay it on your own, I mean, what's hope back? So it does really depend on a lot of things, but I would not advise you to say that you can if you can't. So is there any other question? Wait. For ALA, could you like get admitted into the school and like wait, do they ask you financial aid during the application process? Like you fill it in while you're applying, or is it more like do you first have to get admitted to the school? I don't know if I'm making sense with my question. Cause like
Yeah. I get what you're trying to say.
yeah.
You send your documents while you're during the application process.
Oh, okay, makes sense. What if you're not able to submit the application physically for HOPAC? Um, as you mentioned earlier, there are certain things you cannot do for things. So maybe let's say if you can't take the application physically, you can email them about it and tell them maybe, hey, I don't live indoor, I can't come to Hopac. Maybe I'm out of the country. So you can just email them and send it to them via email and just send it. You just email them and tell them that you can't take it to them. So then they will tell you to just send it online, maybe through email. Because I have a friend again, as I said earlier, who lives in Dodoma, and she couldn't take it there. So she emailed them, and they said she could send it through email. So that's what she did. She sent it through email. So you can just contact them if there's anything really that's preventing you from doing kind of what they're asking you to. You can just email them, have constant communication, and ask them what you should do about something, because they're not really against you, they're not opposing you, they do want you to get into their school. So just talk to them, just email them. um, Yeah.
Okay, so there's a comment that said that
So,
people are afraid of our English. Jamani, kama kuna mtu ana maswali, siogope.
sorry. Um,
Kama
um,
kuna kitu haujaelewa mpaka sasa hivi tulivyokuwa tunaongea, unaweza ukauliza swali au ukaandika kwenye the text box.
I mean, honestly, kama kuna sehemu hamjaelewa, you can point it out and maybe you could repeat it in Swahili to make it easier to understand. So,
Okay. But we shall open the forum in WhatsApp to allow them to ask questions. By the way, time is over.
yeah. Um, yeah. Anyways, thank you for attending the Google Meet. We hope you've actually like gained something from it. So yeah, me and Ashley are happy that we got to kind of share our experiences and kind of help you guys through the process. So hopefully you guys get into the schools you guys want to, and we wish you all the best.